Hey there, Collabcast listeners. This is Captain Dave Jackson coming to you from sunny Hendersonville, Tennessee, part of Nashville. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am today to have with me our special guest, Daniel Seong from Irvine, California. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Well, Captain Dave, I appreciate it, my friend. This is, believe it or not, I don't know if the audience realize this or not, but this is the first time you and I are really
First
interacting
time.
together. I've been stalking you for many, many
Yep.
years from afar, but it's really nice to
Yep.
spend a little time with you,
Email,
my friend.
private messaging. I don't know if we talked on the phone, but this is the first time on camera. So, yeah, it's really cool. And this is what happens a lot of our listeners will know about IAOA. This is what happens at IAOA. You know, you've got all these virtual friends, and then you finally sign up for your first conference and you come and you get to see them in person. So, you and I, that's going to happen this October because you're going to be one of our presenters at our annual conference in October. So that's going to be a thrill for me. And believe me, you're part of a star-studded lineup, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Anyway, first off, so our listeners know a little bit about you. They know probably more than they need to know about me. So we're not going to talk about me. As far as you, I want to really go back to you as a person. We'll get to the unsexy insurance part in a minute. But so first question, are you originally from California? Were you born and raised?
So I'm 44 years old
Oh, happy
tomorrow,
birthday.
and well, thank you, thank you. So I was born in '79 in
Seoul,
Seoul,
Korea.
Korea. Moved out here in '84 when I was 5 years old. Then I settled down in Burbank, California, which is probably about an hour north of where I am right now. But pretty much education, childhood out
Okay,
here in
yeah,
California.
very cool. Your parents came over when you were 5?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we
What
were
caused
five,
that?
and
What made them
it
come
was
over to California?
Well, it's interesting because when I was around 3 or 4 years old, my birth mom, she all of a sudden one day woke up and decided she didn't want to be a mom anymore. So my dad raised me and my sister. She's 2 years older than I am. And all his siblings were back here in the States. And my grandmother would come and just say, what are you doing in Korea? There's nobody here. Just come and, be with us. So he picked us up, came out here. And then, we got remarried to my mom now, and my mom had two other kids, so we grew up as a family
Gotcha.
of 4 kids. But my dad, it's a true immigrant story. Out here, he sold T-shirts at San Diego Swamp Meet. He would buy T-shirts for $1, try to sell it for $1.50, and he just grew it and grew it and grew it and grew it to
Selling
where he
T-shirts?
had multiple stores.
Holy
Yeah, selling T-shirts
moly.
at swap meets. But he grew his business to have multiple locations, storefronts, retail, and like a sewing factory. So, he did very well for himself, gave us a great childhood, and then he kind of went through some hard times right when I was in high school. So it was a roller coaster of a childhood, but wonderful memories and so appreciative of what his
Wow,
generation has
that's an
done.
interesting story. T-shirts. He didn't do the actual
Yeah.
printing. He just resold, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. In the very beginning, he just resold, and then he got a print shop,
So he
and
did
he
do
did all that
all
by
the
himself
printing and
too.
all that. That's very cool. Uh,
Yeah,
Entrepreneurial business owner coming from abroad. I love it because sometimes you just don't have the opportunity there. But the fact that he wanted to have a better life for you and your sister and brought you here so there you'd be closer to family and be able to grow up, in a uh, here versus Korea. Kudos to him. He could
yeah,
see that that was important. Good for him. You got to
yeah.
admire him for that.
And people ask me, like, where did you get your drive? Where did you get your? And as a kid, I mean, I would be 16 years old, and I still got up at, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I would go to the gym, go run, just always be active. And I always remember, when I would wake up that early, my dad wouldn't be home because he would already, he left the house probably around
Hmm.
4:30. Every single day, he would open up the shops, go to the factories, make sure everything was taken care of. And so that's I think subconsciously where I just learned, wake up early, be a leader, show up on time, and just be there when your team gets there.
Very cool.
So it was a lot
So,
of
were
fun.
you born to be an entrepreneur?
Well, Great question. And I don't know if I was born to be an entrepreneur, but I was born not to be in corporate.
Okay. Could be
I've,
the same thing, but
I
yeah, maybe not.
yeah, right. But I flunked first grade, and I
Get out of
cannot
town.
wait
Come
for
on.
who flunks Dave?
First
Who flunks
grade.
first grade?
That's
Right?
easier than
Come on, man.
kindergarten.
So, so I never, I thought, man, that's odds were stacked against me, and I can't wait until October Innovation because there's going to be a lot of talent up there, and I'm just honored to be one of the speakers that you have. But I really like getting personal. Like when a lot of guys get together, what I notice, and I do this too, what I notice is everybody wants to pump their chest and
Right.
flex. Everybody wants to talk about all the things that's going on for them, all the success, all the wins, all the good things. What I found out is not everybody could relate to that, and that's why people put up a
Right.
persona. I lead with my failures. I flunked first grade. I filed bankruptcy. I welfare, food stamps. I mean, I've been through it all. But when I share that with people, like you see this guard just coming down, and I say, "Damn, Daniel, I'm just going through
Right.
that right now."
This
You
guy
know,
is real.
so it just they
Yeah.
relate to you, and they're wondering why you're sharing all this, but it just there's a human level. There's a connection. Everybody can connect with failure, not wins. But I'm so excited to kind of share that. But yeah, I never my first job was Panda Express when I was 16 years old, and then I went into the Marine Corps right after high school because I didn't get into the college that I wanted to get into. But looking back, the Marines, it was absolutely one of the best things I ever did in
Okay,
my life.
give me
It
2 seconds
me.
here to interrupt you. Hoorah! I've always wanted to do that. I've
There you
always
go.
wanted to, so I had to.
Semper Fi, Semper Fi. And it's and there's a camaraderie. Even when I meet somebody in the insurance industry, and it's just for the first time we find out that we're both Marines, there's
For
an
sure.
instant connection. But that the Marines is where I visually saw leadership in the Marines because that's all the
Right.
Marines is
Oh, yeah.
about: leadership and just mission accomplishment, troop welfare, just getting things done, work ethic, camaraderie. So I was a knucklehead. I
How
just
long
didn't know
were you
what
in
I
the
wanted to
Marines?
do. I was in 4 years,
Okay.
right after high school. I graduated high school probably June 15th. I was on the bus June 19th. My first duty station after boot camp was Okinawa, Japan. So I was out there
Wow.
for 12 months. And then I got stationed down in Miramar, and that's where I met my wife. She's not military, but they
Okay.
were living there. So again, it led me to my wife, and now we just celebrated 19 years, 5 kids. It's
Awesome.
just we're having a
Congratulations and
great
happy
time.
birthday tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
an awesome story. So, without a doubt, the military teaches you a lot. But did it teach you how to be a business owner or more just on the leadership
Well,
side?
leadership, but also structure. But I think what it really taught me was no excuses. There is no room for error. Like you have to get it done. And Dave, I tell you, and this is pretty brutal, but I am a very good person or self-control to a certain degree. Like I can get things done that I know I need to get done. For example, sales goals. I truly do believe every salesperson should focus on hitting 75% of their target by the 15th of the month. You have to have that activity to hit that target. But it's when I was on welfare and when I got into the industry, I would pretend that somebody was holding a 9 millimeter to my kid's head, and if I didn't hit that target sales goal at the end of the month,
It was
it
that
would be bad.
serious.
I made myself because at my lowest point I had $200 in my left pocket, and that was it. And we had my fourth daughter at that time. Bankruptcy, again, food stamps. We sold everything. We moved around so much that I didn't know. We never updated our address on our license, right? We moved so much, it got really bad. But you sell a home policy this month, you don't get
Right.
paid for 30 days. So that money was already spent. But my wife didn't work because I didn't want her to work. She was
Right.
home with the kids. So I would go out there. So I had two jobs during the day, and then I would come home, have dinner, take a nap for 2 hours, and then I would drive. At 10 p.m., I would drive to my
This is
graveyard
after
shift,
the
which
Marines.
it was.
Yeah,
This is
early
after the
family
Marines.
times.
Yeah, after I had my first business, I failed, and then that's when I got into insurance. And I didn't know
Okay,
anybody when
hold
I
on
got
a
into
second. What
insurance.
was your first business that failed?
I was in the
What was
mortgage
it?
business. Mortgage
As a
business.
loan officer? Okay.
Yep, yep. So, you know, I was going to school. I dropped out because I was making so much money as a loan officer. And then, 4 months later, I opened my own shop out here in Torrance, California. And I had 15 loan officers. I had 3 processors. And as a kid, I was making a ton of money with my own pen. I remember one month, and this isn't even the business. This is just with my own pen as a producer. I was made 100,000 commission. The next month 75. The next month 50. So in a quarter, I made $225,000. But not coming from money, not knowing how to handle money, I was completely reckless. Thinking that I was just the man, right? Arrogant, just full of myself, and the good Lord really humbled us. And and I do believe everything happens for a reason. But and I forget what your original
The
question
business,
was.
why
But
it failed. Or what was it? And you said mortgage.
yeah,
Yeah. But why did it fail?
well, okay, so I want to say timing also has something to do with it because we closed it down July '07, and that's really kind of the start of the end for the mortgage business, the
Yeah.
housing market. And we weren't Bank of America or Countrywide or these big companies where you can sustain a couple bad months or a
Right.
couple bad years. So we had to shut that down pretty quickly, and that's when. But thankfully that happened because that's how I
Okay.
got into
So
insurance.
I ask all my guests this. What was your very first day in the insurance industry?
My first day in the insurance industry, gosh. Well, just figuring out the
No, I mean,
systems.
when was it?
You mean as
What
far
were
as,
you doing and when was it?
oh, when was it? So I got licensed in '07.
Before you ever had a job, you got
Oh,
your license?
yeah. Well,
You did.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So that transition time. Well, so I got discharged from the Marine Corps in '02. And then I got a part-time job while I was going to USC, but I was also married at that time. So that's when I got into the mortgage business, part-time job, and that part-time job led to me just opening up a mortgage
Right.
or brokerage. So I did that for about 3-4 years, and then in '07 is when I left the industry and I got licensed in insurance. And then there was probably about a 6-month gap where I was helping my parents with their business because I
Gotcha.
was able to. But you know, I didn't know what a cluster was. I didn't know what it. I was an island to myself, so I thought, okay, well, I looked at several different industries: residential real estate, commercial real estate, equipment financing. I looked at a bunch, and I thought, okay, what's going to give in long term? I mean, I figured I'm not making any money anyway right now. I'll just invest the next couple of years into my future. So I picked insurance because I thought, well, just like everybody else, right? Everybody needs it, right? So I thought, okay, I'll look into this thing. And I got licensed, and then I found a local agency. And I just needed access. So I owned my own book of business from the very beginning, and they took a little bit off the top, and that's where kind of I
And that
started
was an
growing my
independent
book.
broker. Okay, so
That's
you
right.
picked the industry without ever working a day in it and decided to get your insurance license. No, you didn't know someone who said, hey, try this, or just out of the blue, you on your own say, I think this is where I want to go. And you go get a study manual and get your license. That's how it went?
Yeah, yeah, 52
Holy
hours.
moly.
52 hours.
That's crazy. And in
Yeah.
California, do you have to go through pre-licensing, have a course and all that before you
Yeah,
can test?
yeah. And back then, I think you can spend a week inside of the classroom. I believe I chose to do it online because I was working a couple of other jobs. So, but it's 52 hours. You have to
Right.
complete 52 hours. You get your certificate, and then you can take the
So
state
now you
test.
pick a broker and you go be a producer?
I was an
Okay.
independent producer where I wasn't on a schedule. I didn't clock in or out. I was completely, so it was almost an agency
Gotcha.
within an agency type of thing. I was building my own book of business. They didn't support me with any marketing or anything like
1099.
that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
that was an independent agency. Did you have at that point, did you have a niche, like in commercial, or were you just
My,
writing anything
yeah,
you could?
it was definitely
Okay.
personal lines, and I was just writing everything that I could. And one advice that I would give to people is I was very slow to um, ex- expand my expenses. Uh, so I was working another job and in the graveyard, and then as soon I was able to quit that graveyard shift. But I worked that other job for a good 6 years, along with insurance during the day. But both were
Right.
flexible, and I just worked from home. But and I don't say this to boast, because to some of our friends, when I give them this number, they're going to be like, "Oh, that's peanuts," right? And in the big scheme of things, it is. But the year that I went out and opened my office, which is actually the office upstairs from where I am right now, I signed a lease when I was still a producer. Out here in California, it was hard for they had a moratorium on appointments,
Mhm.
direct appointments. So I couldn't get a direct appointment. It took me 6 to 7 years, but I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen soon. So I just committed myself while still being a producer to quitting that second job and opening up, getting a lease upstairs, about 1,500 square feet. I hired some employees. Um, but my income at that point, that year, my income with the two jobs was 400,000. So I recovered from making 20,000 a year, not being able to feed my family. So I recovered pretty quickly. But that was still 5 to 6 years. And I always tell people, anytime you start a business or anytime you start something new, you got to kill
Sure.
yourself. You got to give it your all for the first five
Absolutely.
years. I didn't go to a single birthday party, a Friday night outing. I didn't go to church. My wife would go to church with the five kids, and people thought she was a single mom. I was completely focused. I never looked left. I never looked right. I mean, I had people depend on me, so I just every time I came home, that was enough motivation where those kids would look at me. So,
Any
um,
regrets about
I
that?
write, Dave, no
Cool.
regrets. The only regret I have professionally is I didn't get into insurance
That's what
earlier.
everybody says.
And you know what it is. My wife and I, when we got married, we were young. When we started our first business, we were young. But we had enough wisdom to open the business and say, you know what? If this doesn't work out, we'll be in our late 20s. We're kids. I'm 44. I still feel like a kid. So we had time on our side. That's why we started the first business. Um, no,
That's
no
good.
regrets, no regrets at all. But going back, the first 5 years, you have to kill yourself. And my income was 400,000. I could definitely afford an employee, but I was so scared to go back, right, to that bad place of just having no money, no stability, no security. That I grew the income, saved the money, saved the money. Now it was interesting because it took me that long because from my other job, which was very flexible, I was making about 75,000 a year. Now, so if it's 400,000, that's 325 on insurance, 75,000 with the other job. But the minute I opened up an office, I knew I couldn't hold on to that other job, so I let that job go. But about $75,000 of expenses goes out now. There's a lease, there's employees and all these things. So it was a
Hmm.
$150,000 swing for me. So that's why I held out on so long until I opened the office. But once I opened that office, it was probably within that year where the carriers came to me and said, Daniel, you're growing a decent sized book now. You've proven yourself, and we're gonna go ahead and give you an appointment. So that was back in 2016. Officially, Great Park Insurance Incorporated,
So
2017.
Great Park Insurance is 7 years old ish. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
about, yeah,
Okay.
just about. Now I have clients that are from 2010, 2009, but
Hmm.
officially
Hmm.
incorporated
As your existing
2017.
agency. Okay. So you have your agency in a commercial building that you own now today. You're leasing
No, no, I,
space.
I do
Okay.
not own this building. Yeah, yeah. So we moved
Okay.
downstairs. Now the office is about
Hmm.
2,500 square feet. But what's really interesting is when I moved upstairs, the landlord to this building texted me and said, Daniel, the attorney downstairs is going out of business. Do you want the space? And I thought, I can't even fill the
Hmm.
space that I have now, 1,500 square feet. There's no way I need 2,500. 3 months later, she texted me again saying, Daniel, still available. Do you want it? And I thought, you know what? Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's start building out the team, and let's get this thing going. Let's fully commit. And I tell you what, probably within 90 days of me moving down here and committing to growth and the team, our business just exploded.
Isn't that cool? Okay. So
Yeah.
before we get to agency stuff, tell me, so 5 kids, wife and 5 kids, and 4 daughters and a son?
I have 4 teenage girls right now
Oh
in
my
my litter bag.
gosh. How in the world do you manage 4 teenage girls?
Yeah, well, that's right. That's why I'm
No
getting the grades now,
joke.
right? But we just passed 19 years of marriage, and in the first 5 years, Dave, we had the
my
4
goodness.
girls. In 5 years, 4 girls, no twins, just back to back. We had 4 girls with 3 in diapers at the same time.
Oh my God.
And then we said, no more. Let's just raise our kids and just, live our life. And then we got surprised with my son, Nathan, a couple years after. So technically, right now, they're 17, 15, 13, 12, and 8.
Not too much of a gap for your youngest. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. That's crazier than you going through the Marines and starting a business. 4 daughters in 5 years or 6 years.
Well, you have a very good point. Raising the kids, as much as fun we're having and enjoying it, toughest thing I've ever done.
Far.
Tough.
By
It has
far.
taught me patience, strategy, timing. It has just taught me so much because the relationship is so fragile and it's so special that you don't want to
Sure.
ruin it, right? So, but yeah, business is
Right.
easy. Raising kids,
And they're all in
that's
activities,
the challenge,
right? So it's like get them all up to where they
Yeah.
need to be every day. Every day. You don't skip a day. And I imagine your 17-year-old's driving by now, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, she sure is. And today, my second one is taking her permit
Ah,
test. So by the end of the
2
year, we'll have 2
drivers.
drivers. Next year we're gonna have 1 in college, 2 in high school. The year after that, we'll have 3 in high school. So yeah, it's a
No
busy
joke
time.
about it. Wow, that's crazy. So, personal question. I don't know if you've ever been asked this, but I'm curious. What led you to be as dapper of a dresser as you are? Jacket, vest, shirt and tie all the time whenever we see you. What's up? Shirt and tie almost every time I see you. Why? What's up with that? What's your philosophy?
Yeah. Great question, by the way. So Monday through Thursday, I'm dressed like this, a suit and tie, and then Fridays we actually have Jersey Fridays where we can wear any team jersey that we want. Dave, I think mindset is very important.
Dress for success, right?
And I probably learned this in the Marines, but in the Marines, I mean, you go through starch like it's water because you're even your camis and your shirts, everything is just
Right.
tight, crisp. There's
Yep, has
lines
to be.
everywhere, right? And there is so much pride in the way you look, right? Even your nose hairs gets trimmed, just everything. You get a haircut every single week. And and you have an inspection, so the platoon will line up and the they'll go through each line one by one, and you might be out there for 3-4 hours, but you know what? You're out there, and you're just they're looking at every lapel, every button, everything. So when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you perform good. And I know that's
Simple
not you
enough.
perform well, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And so it's one of those things where and in my beard even, this is a year old. I never grew a beard in my life. A year ago, I thought I'm going to give it a try. Before that, I shaved every single day, even on Sundays, because I want to be at my best, right? I never know who's going to walk into this building on a given day. But if or when that person walks in, which could be maybe our biggest account, I want to make sure that I sit with them and I feel good about who we are and what we represent. So it was always for myself, mindset. And then the team starts getting involved, right? They see that. But as the leader, you have to kind of set the stage. And I always felt as if the leader has to be one step above. So if it's business casual, I like to do professional. If it's casual, I probably do business casual. But I always, and you hope that the kids or the team or just they pick up on little things like that. But I know I did. I shave every day because my dad shaved every day. I never had a conversation with my dad about him shaving every day. I just noticed it throughout the years. I never had a conversation about him being committed and leaving at 4 o'clock every morning. I just noticed it. And what I noticed as an adult, when he had nowhere to go, when he filed bankruptcy, closed down his business, he would still leave at 4 o'clock. The reason why he did that was he didn't want to show us that something was wrong or something was off. And then eventually, we talked and we figured it out. But it's leadership. Leadership is everything. I really do believe that. But there's gonna, in everyone's life, there's that one person at that one moment that says that one thing in your life that changes it forever. And I know for a fact that I've been that person to many. And even through our TikTok and our Seong Life podcast and everything else, we get such good feedback, Dave, about these kids being abused while they were growing up, had a drunk dad, drugged out dad, just never was home, affairs. So they would message me, say, Daniel, I never wanted to be a dad, never wanted to get married. But watching you and your family, how much you're involved and having fun, it's like, man, I want that for myself. I want to be a dad now. It's pretty incredible what social media is doing in a good way.
That's cool. So is the beard here to stay?
I'm really enjoying it. I don't know how to, I don't cut it myself because I don't know how to, so I just go to the barbershop. But I really do enjoy it. And my wife and the kids were a little weirded out in the beginning. But
I was just going to ask, your wife enjoy it?
Yeah.
Does she say a kiss is different now?
In the very beginning she did, but
I
haven't heard that in a while.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you talked about leadership, and it turns out you and a good friend of you, Ryan Reynolds, happen to put on a podcast, which is called The Insurance Leaders. So how did that all come to be?
Well, there's so many great podcasts out there, and we thought, okay, well, does the industry really need another one? And selfishly, we kind of did it for ourselves in the very beginning because, we want to grow. We want to learn more about leadership. So we have people come on and we ask them about their leadership skills, their leadership philosophy. And then we started getting such good feedback from the audience. But it's another way to give back. I stepped away from quoting and binding about 3 years ago. And for those up till then, I have never been able to poke up my head and really do the things that I wanted to do. Probably for the first 7 years, I was just completely tunnel vision. Once I started growing a team, I was able to go out, travel a little bit more, go to events a little bit more. But I lost my train of thought. I was going to go somewhere.
Insurance Leaders Podcast is what we're talking about. So.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're having a great time. I think we're almost up on 30 episodes now. We drop every Thursdays, and I know where I was going. So the first half of my career, I was just busy trying to make a living. But now the second part of my career, I really do want to leave the industry better than I found it. And I know a lot of people say that. But if I could just do one thing or impact a few people, I think I did my part. So just like you, with all the things that you've done to bring this industry together, and I really do believe that you kind of started this this mindset of helping each other. I mean, I get Patty Laura's is just 10 minutes from me, but we're in masterminds together. We're travel buddies to events. I mean, we collab almost on a daily basis. But I'll have people, agency owners down the street who know nothing about us, never met them. They'll reach out because they found our social and all the social proof that we have going on. And they want to pick my brain. So I'll invite them in the conference room, show them everything. And then you kind of get the side eye from them because I show them everything that we're doing. And so they're wondering why I'm so open. But again, there's enough to go around. But one of the other reasons why I do it, and what I've noticed, is because anything you tell people 99% of the time, they walk out that door and they don't do anything with it. And that's the sad part.
It's sad, but it encourages you to share, because if they were going to do something with it and, come back on you, so to speak, I have so many people say, oh, it's my competitor. Why would I help my competitor? And I'm like, no, that's not our mindset. That's not how we look at it. If we build, I look at it as captives versus direct writers versus independent agents. If we help the independent agency channel, in terms of business, then we're benefiting all of us as a whole, as a group. And if you think bigger picture that way, then it's not just me and you and we're competitors. That's not what we're all about. So, yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and it's again, it's just giving back to the industry that has
Very
given
cool.
us so much.
So let's talk about your agency a little bit. Give folks an idea of the makeup of your agency. You can share with us,
Yeah.
premium dollars, revenue dollars, number of employees. I'm interested in knowing the
Yeah.
split or mix of your business too, personal versus commercial.
Sure. We're about 13 million in
Okay.
premium. We're probably now about 70 personal, 30% commercial, 13 team members. When I first started, it was all personal. We were probably up until about 3 years ago, we were probably about 95% personal, 5% commercial. We have intentionally made a focus to grow the commercial book. So now we're about 70-30. But what's been really encouraging is, anything you focus on grows. So from 3 years ago, more than 50% of our new business premium has been commercial. So we're definitely headed in the right direction. I think my ultimate goal is I might even take that 70-30 the other way, where it's 70% commercial. But I have a really good team. I don't have a lot of layers in the office because, again, we're only about 13 people. But everybody's cross-trained. Everybody knows, very responsible. I run a pretty loose organization. As far as, some people come in at 10 o'clock in the morning. Majority come in at 8:30. But the person who comes in at 10 and usually is here until 10 p.m. or 8 p.m. at night, right? So it's just my leadership philosophy was never the same for everybody. It's always on an individual basis. Now, obviously, the bigger decisions we do, it's
Right.
as a team. But I think as a leader, you have to be flexible. And now, especially now, with a lot of people working from home you have to be mindful of individuals and kind of and creating an environment where they excel. But yeah, so we brought on automation about 3.5 years ago, probably one of the best things that we've done, and that has really changed the industry. So a lot of people would probably think that I am very techie. I am not. In the last 3 years, I brought on a new piece of technology. The only one is about 3 years ago. And then we just brought on Donna that we're implementing into the agency. But I don't change. I don't like change in the industry. I don't add a lot of things. If anything, we probably take away more of what's not working. But we try to keep it simple.
On the commercial side, you said you're shifting your focus. So, are you working in any certain niches or classes of business?
Yeah. So we work. We try to stay within the construction space. So we lead with the comp, the GL, the bond, the commercial auto, but that's typically what the niche that we target.
So not your small contractors, but I'm guessing, or is it small, medium, large? Doesn't matter.
Actually, it is. It's probably more on the smaller side, where a package premium, if it's probably right around 10 to 15,000.
So it's not your $1,000 guys, really small premium. Those guys tend to be an awful lot of work, but a little bigger than that.
Yeah, but we do have them as well. We do have them as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So was that by choice? Did you select that class?
Commercial. I didn't learn too much about commercial because again, I was just in the personal line space. So, but I wanted to grow it. I wanted to get into it. So I actually hired a risk manager who came in who had a lot of experience with it. And also I had the carrier relationships. So it was just, hired him, plugged him in, and he's kind of running with it.
So do you feel like the commercial side of the business is more recession proof than the personal side? Or more steady versus volatile, like what we're seeing now in a hard market?
Yeah. Well, especially out here in California, it's been a little tough. I mean, it almost feels like every month we're getting emails from carriers where if they're not pulling out of the market, they want us to really slow down. And it was funny because, our personal lines, we really do focus on bundled policies. So we bound a auto, home, earthquake umbrella policy with one of our carriers. And we got a notification or email saying, hey, we really don't want you to write business. But it was a complete package. So that was a little surprising, but that tells you how bad it is out here right now. But commercial has been a lot more consistent. And we like working with business owners. If it wasn't for the automation, I think that would be a little bit tougher because the cert requests, the endorsements, those do take up some time. But we have a ticketing system where they fill out a form, it comes to us. If not that same day, within 24 hours, and so we utilize VAs as well. So it really does. Once you implement a system and process and procedures, it really does become more efficient.
So you mentioned VAs a couple times. How many of your, not VAs, but how many of your employees work remotely? Any of them?
Well, so we have 3 VAs right now, and then we have one producer who works remotely. Everybody else.
And then
is
going
in the
through
office.
COVID, at some point you had to all work remotely, correct? How long did that last?
We're
That's
2
all?
weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So we in about 2 weeks we all work from home, and then after that we came back in. I mean, we have been an in-office office, but we have individual offices within the office, so which makes it a little bit easier. But everybody on the team wants to be in the office.
Okay.
So it's so
Whatever works
pretty
for
much the
you,
whole time.
right? Yeah. There are some folks
Yeah.
that are just 100% remote philosophy. I don't care if I have 100
Yeah.
employees, we're all remote. And then there's, I had an
Yeah.
interview last week. He's like, I have 20 employees. 100% of us are in the office. We'll never be remote.
Right.
Like, that's why we're independent. There's 1,000 different ways to do it in 1,000 different office agencies. So
Right.
we get to do what we feel best for our staff, our clientele, our carrier partnerships, all of that. So, one question I was going to ask you about your employees. So how do you segment them? Do you have sales people separate from service, 100%? Nobody that does sales does service, and vice versa? Or how do you do it? Or a hybrid?
Pretty much, if everybody wants to sell and service, they can, or they're capable of doing that. We do have specific commercial risk managers who only focus on commercial, but they sell and service. And then we have some that's personal lines. And then we have some that can kind of do both. So we're very fluid. It almost feels as if, if we need to pick up, especially going into summer now, people are going on vacation. So on a normal schedule, we do have people who specifically work on their own tasks, meaning we have a personal lines account manager who only does service. Now they'll help with the rewrites and reshops, but they won't work on new business. And we do have a risk manager who only does new business personal lines. So it is very individual, but again, they can kind of do everything.
I know I see on some of your social media, you have a staff member, it looks like a staff member, do video. And this person will walk in with a camera and they'll walk right through the conference door or your office door and come up right to you, you know what I'm talking about, and say, Daniel, here's a question. And they ask the question and you give the answer. And it looks like it's all 100%. Like they just come in whenever they want. It's not scheduled or scripted by you. Is that how it works?
Well, that is how it works. So I don't know the question beforehand. Now, if you notice on those videos, I do have a little mic. So she'll come in and says, Daniel, we're going to record. So I'll just put it on real quick. And then
that's
she'll
the
come
only
in
prep
and
work.
just
Throw on a mic, a lapel mic.
That's the only prep work. And Dave, I tell you what, brother, it takes, the video is about 45 seconds long.
They have to be.
It takes maybe 3 minutes from start to finish. From start to upload, it takes about 3 minutes. But it's also, if you notice, it's a different camera angle, right? So it kind of stands out. And a lot of it is personal questions where, I think that's what people want. People want to know people outside of the office or outside of the industry. Exactly, right? Because to me, that's the interesting side. And once I get to know your personal side, I can appreciate your business side a little bit more. But yeah, that's some of the feedback that we've been getting. So I thought, okay, well, let's do that. It doesn't take too much effort, and it's content, right? It's and people might be interested.
Yeah, and that's part of your planned social media strategy is to show us our people, show us our human side, and then let people get to know us before they ever do business with us, and hope that'll be the catalyst that allow them to do business with us because they know us, they see us, and like, oh, I know that guy, I've seen him on video. You know how people are, they're starstruck, right? They think they see you on camera and think, oh my gosh, that's the guy I saw in the film, you know, on YouTube or wherever. They treat you like a rock star.
Well, I think you nailed it, Dave. So very proud of the team because, we've utilized Yelp and we have a whole strategy around Yelp. And out here, Yelp is pretty big. So, we are the highest rated agency in the country on Yelp. But when people find us through Yelp or through Google, if they make an appointment here in the office, done. We know it's a sold policy. They come in, we have their name on the board. Yesenia and Stephanie will greet them in the front. They walk into the conference room. They're looking around like, wow, this is different. It doesn't feel like a insurance office. And even if I'm not running the meeting, I will always walk in and just say hello. And many times, they say, you're that guy. You're Daniel. Like, you're everywhere. We don't do any. I never paid for a lead, but we do market in 3 other local grocery stores here, where on the shopping cart it has our picture. But they see us everywhere, and again, that's just part of the experience that we're providing for them. And then once my risk manager comes in, it's just a formality at that point, but it really does make an impact. And I don't know how much. So we have over 3,500 photos that we upload on our Yelp account. So they're just there, just looking through the photos. Now, I don't know what the percentage is of people contacting us because we have the photos up there, and I don't really care. All I know is the more you post, the more you put out there, it all kind of works together. They can see us on Yelp driving home. They stop by the grocery store to pick up some milk, and they see our picture again or our advertisement. Another. We're buying
Branding
space in their mind.
Yeah.
So it all just kind of works together. But one of the things that I see is people started, and after they do it for a week or 2 or 3, they say this is too much work. You just got to be consistent with it. Consistency is key.
That's very cool. So, if people listen to this podcast and they learn one thing from you or me, but mostly you, it's got to be consistency. Just be there all the time and have a strategy. So let me tell you a slight short story. With IAOA, which is a group that I founded 9 years ago of independent agency owners, the brokers who are the owner of the agency. We have 9,000 plus members now. I vet every single one of them on a Monday, usually Mondays, to see if they qualify to join the group of all the people that request to join. So in order for me to find out 2 things, number one, are you an independent? Could be a captive like State Farm or Allstate or Farmers or whoever, or you could be a non-owner. So you must be an owner / principal / partner, have an ownership stake in the agency. So I visit a ton of insurance agency websites. Literally, I reject about 150% of those who, more than those I approve. So of 9,000 that I've approved, I'll bet you I've looked at 20,000 different profiles, and I don't know, 10,000 insurance agency websites. The number one message I want to share with those folks is update your social media. Listen to Daniel's song. There's no social media on there. I can't tell you. Some of the websites are from 1987. They're just that old, and many of them don't have social media icons. They wouldn't know what a Yelp review is, or Google review. They wouldn't have any of that on their website. It's amazing to me. And, there's people in our industry that do that, help them, that do just that with websites and social media presence. But there are so many of them that are missing the ball game because they're not doing the same types of things you have. And the point you made was a little video, 45-second on-air video, takes all of 3 minutes to create and produce and publish. 3 whole minutes. And it's not hard. You could, if you wanted to, you could do it 100% from your phone and do it just
That's
like
right.
that. It's not hard. So find a millennial or a teenager, who knows how to use a phone like better than anything else they own, and let them do your social media. I mean, at least do that. So anyway, that's my message to
Yeah.
all those out there that think social media doesn't have any, they don't do it, so they don't think your clients are just like you. That's my point. Everybody's got social media is so involved in our lives today that there's
Well,
only
yeah. Well, to your point, Dave, the video that I make every day, that's with my
right,
iPhone.
right,
Nothing else. We record, we edit,
yeah,
we upload
yeah.
right on the iPhone. But yeah, you're right. It's like, people don't realize your iPhone is also a
Yeah.
phone. It does so much, but it's
And
also a phone,
forget
right?
about that. It
Um,
makes phone calls because nobody cares about that anymore. It does
exactly.
texting and
Exactly.
videos and all the rest, photos. That
That's right. And the best thing about it is it's
yeah,
free.
yeah.
You can take a picture, hit upload on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram.
Just the
It's
time, just
free.
a little bit of time. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. And I will say, once you get in a rhythm of doing it, it is so effortless. It is so effortless.
Yeah,
But it's social media is here to stay. And if Facebook might not be around in 10 years, but something
right.
else will. It is
Yep,
here to stay.
yep,
It's
for
not
sure.
going anywhere.
So, final topic before we let you go. We've talked about it. IAOA is a group of 9,000 independent agency owners. And early on, after I founded it, we started to have an annual meeting. Eventually became a full-blown conference. And this year it's in October. We move it around from city to city every year. And it's not for the industry, open to the entire industry. It's only for IOA members. They're the only attendees who can
Mm.
attend. And of course, we have an exhibit hall full of vendors and exhibitors. But those who speak on stage, which is another area that we're very different, they are also only IAOA members. So these are peer to peer presentations given this year from 19 different people that'll stand on stage and talk about something they're doing in their agency that is very important, critically important to the success of their agency. So that if I'm an attendee sitting in the audience, on Monday morning, I can go home and start implementing, not all 19, but whatever ones that I feel like are the ones that are going to benefit me the most. Actionable things that I can take home Monday morning and start. So that's been our format since year one. I take a poll every year and say, hey, would you like a motivational speaker? Would you like a carrier CEO to come and talk about the state of the industry? And it's resounding. No, do not change it. We love the format. And so this year we have the fortunality of having Daniel join us as one of those 19 presenters. So we first off, I want to say thank you for committing to being a part of our event and giving back to your peers and helping to make our agency better. Obviously, you've told us giving back is important to you now, probably more so than ever in your career. And so this is a very important part of it because there'll be several hundred in the audience who are going to be listening wholeheartedly with what you have to say. Give us a sneak peek as to what you're going to talk about.
Well, I really do want to make a connection with everybody there. And I led this podcast with, we can all connect with our failures. So I want to go into that a little bit deeper about our story a little bit and how we went from zero to where we are today in what I think is a very short time. Intentionality is very important. I do also want to talk about, how we became the highest rated insurance industry on Yelp in the country. I mean, there were agencies out here, there were hundreds of reviews when we had 10.
Sure.
But through time, we are double what they have now. And all the obstacles that you're going to face on that journey, but it's mindset, team culture,
Consistency, like
and
we said.
just winning, and what winning looks like to everybody. But I cannot wait. It's going to be an amazing
Awesome. Well,
time.
we're thrilled to have you and can't wait. October 5th, 6th, and 7th, there's an annual commercial selling workshop early on the 4th. This is in October, and this year is in Chicago at the Marriott Marquis. This is a almost brand new 36 story, I want to say, 38 story high rise hotel right next door to McCormick Place, which is the South Loop of Chicago downtown, and close to the lake, close to all the cool things on the lake like Shed Aquarium and the museums and all that. So it's going to be a really cool experience, and we can't wait to get there and have you on stage for us. Do you know your date? I was going to look it up. Do you know your date and time that you're speaking offhand?
I I think I'm speaking the first day right before lunch.
That's
so
it.
after
Yep.
me is lunch from
First morning.
yeah.
First morning.
And if I could just share one thing, what's really helped me was connecting. And you know, I always post relationships matter, friendships matter. Take that one step above. Friendships matter. Whenever I go to an event, I get there early. So if the event is, let's say, on Thursday, I get there at the very latest on Wednesday. Well, first of all, maybe sometimes even Tuesday. You just don't know what's going to happen. You know, there could be delays. There could be just anything could happen. So try to get there at least the day before. Have dinner with people that you want to connect with. Start messaging people in advance. And you might get pulled into a group that you just didn't know that you needed to be in. And stay for the event. Have breakfast with people, lunch with dinner. And then also, if the event ends on, let's say, a Saturday, you know, try to leave that next day. Like, be there in the event for the full time. That has helped me tremendously with relationships, friendships, side conversations. And I know people say this all the time, but you can actually build your business going from event to event. And I can talk about that a little deeper, but definitely commit yourself for that time.
That's a great point. We had somebody post in our group just the other day, when you go to because registration for our conference just started Thursday, June 1. And when you go buy your ticket, okay, now you've got from June 1 to October 1 roughly. Make a plan. Make a plan for when you don't just buy your airfare and book your hotel and have your ticket in hand and show up and say, I hope something good happens. No, make a plan and actually, like you said, seek out the folks that you know you want to meet. Go up and shake their hand. They'll have a name badge on with their name and where they're from. Shake their hand, introduce yourself, and network. Have breakfast, lunch, speak after hours. That's where, you know it and everybody knows it. That's where so much positive comes about from attending a conference, is the after hour stuff. The stuff that happens, things that come from the stage. Oh, absolutely. They're beneficial. No question. But when you build those relationships, and now on Monday morning, you know what? Oh my gosh, I can call Daniel. He gave me his cell phone. I can call him and I have a question. And I've got not just Daniel, I've got dozens and dozens of friends, as you call them, or relationships, a notch above that I can rely on and email and message and text and call and get my personal detailed questions answered, because I already know they have the answer. So those are the kind of folks that you can rely on. And when you have that, you're no longer an independent. You don't feel like you're on an island, like when you do the first day you start out, because you really are on an island. So my quick story, 5 different agencies, 2 all states, a State Farm, and 2 independents. And when I went from State Farm to independent, I was now independent. I didn't have a district manager anymore to call. Yeah, sure, I could call an underwriter if I had a question, or I could call a carrier rep if I had a question. But to get my questions answered by peers, my own peers, could be right down the street or halfway across the country. They're doing the same thing I'm doing, beating the pavement every day, making a living, having fun doing it, and ask all my questions. That's why IAOA was created selfishly on my part, because I wanted to get my questions answered. Turned out so did 9,000 plus others. Found that would be helpful as well. So people bought into the mission. It wasn't about Captain Dave. It was about all those others who bought into the mission, said that I can support this and I'm willing to give back like you do, to help those and the next generation who are coming along. And so, yeah. So we about run out of time here, Daniel. I can't believe it went that fast. So I want to thank you again for joining me. It's been awesome. People are going to love listening to you, and they're really going to enjoy seeing you and hearing you on stage in October in Chicago at Innovation 23. Can't thank you enough, and I appreciate it. Say hello to your wife and all your 5 kids. And brother, I wish you the best of luck with those 4 teenage girls.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Dave.
You're welcome. Enjoy your week. Captain Dave signing out. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Collabcast with IAOA with Captain Dave Jackson. Production and distribution by Podsquad.fm, Riverside.fm, and Spotify for podcasters. Special thanks to Little Dog Social Media, Terry Champion, and all our guests and listeners. If you're an independent insurance agency owner, please subscribe to our podcast weekly. You can also request to join our agency owner exclusive Facebook group, IAOA, or Insurance Agency Owners Alliance at IAOA.com. Captain Dave Jackson signs out from sunny Hendersonville, Tennessee.